Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, what we're going to do is I have a little tip from a Sephora worker that we're going to try out because she swears that no matter how dry my skin is, that if I apply my foundation with powder and concealer in a certain order on my face, that it will not get cakey, it will not create all these pooling and wrinkles where I don't want them, where they're not when I don't wear any makeup. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to apply my foundation. I'll be off camera when I put on my eye look, but you'll see it at the end. But I'm going to wear it as a wear test today. We're going to get first impressions of what it looks like all applied to the face. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to check in with you to see how well it wore. I will tell you what all she told me to use. If you don't know me already, you would know I don't wear powder and I don't wear concealer because of these things. And according to this gal that I talked to, if I apply certain products in this order, it will not do that. So let's see. It really does make a difference. And if you're interested to see how well this turns out, then just keep watching. I'm so glad you guys decided to stay. So I had a little conversation with a Sephora employee, and we were just talking about makeup, and she was mentioning some new products that were coming out. I proceeded to tell her I don't wear powder, I don't wear concealer, and she was like, "May I ask why you don't wear it?" And I told her that whenever I put it on, it does not matter what brand it is. I've tried everything underneath the sun. It just pulls the moisture out of those areas, and it just creates wrinkles where there's not normally. I think personally why it does that for myself is that I have a thinner skin.
Not talking about emotionally either.
But I just think that it's a thinner skin. And so therefore, whenever you put those products on there, all it does is bunch up that area. So because it's drawing that moisture out of a very thin area. I was explaining these things to her and she said, "Have you ever tried this?" She said, first of all, she didn't tell me specific products that I would need to use. But what she did tell me is that I needed a talc-free powder. That's very important because she says the talc is what draws that moisture out and causes that cakey look to powdered foundation. And then she said about the order. The order was, she said, try this and see if it works. And so that's what we're going to do today. Apply your primer, okay? And then after applying the primer, apply powder. After applying the powder, put on your concealer and then your foundation. And then you can layer your blush and everything else on top of that. So that's what we're going to do today. I have the Ordinary High Spreadability Fluid Primer that we're going to use. I have the Veil Hourglass Translucent Setting Powder is what we're going to use for the powder. We have the Haus Labs Skin Tech Foundation, and I have it in shade Light Neutral 110, and that's what we're going to use as our base. And then for concealer, my good friend Cecily swears by this concealer. Wearing it just by itself normally, it still causes a little bit of creasing, but not nearly as much as any other concealer. So this was the best so far, but let's have no creasing. That would be fantastic. So we're hoping that this powder trick works. And this is the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. So we're going to use those products on my face. Let's go ahead and get on this primer. This is so much fun. This is like a science experiment. I love this primer. It feels so good on my face and it works so good with foundations and it's so inexpensive. I love this primer. Okay, so I'm putting the primer on. My face is red because I was out in the sun. So primer on. Just feels so wrong to put this powder on next. It feels wrong to put powder on, period, since I don't ever wear it. I'm going to use the Lunar Beauty powder brush. This thing is so fluffy and it does make me happy to use it. You know, I could live without powder, but the fact that I get to use these brushes makes me very happy because they're so soft and they're so amazing. Okay, I'm just going to go with the powder that's in the lid. We're going to just, look, you can see around my eyes, like there's a little bit of natural creasing. You know, my forehead has some. So before I get powdered up, we're going to take a look to see if there's more than just like what I have right here, and then right in my forehead with these little lines. And then I always crease right here. So we'll see. Powder my eyelids. All right, well, it doesn't feel like super tight, like sometimes I'm gonna give it a minute too, because sometimes it forms over time. But a lot of times, as soon as I put on powder, I just start to feel this tightening and it just never does work well with my skin. But let's just see if this works. We're still gonna keep an open mind. Like I said, I'm not gonna do my eye makeup. We're just doing the foundation today. And then I'll do a wear test and come back and tell you tonight how it wore. And if you're wondering what I'm gonna be using today, it is the new Don't Be Jelly Unearthly Cosmetics palette that came in the mail thumbnail. So I'm trying that out today. I'm super excited as soon as I get done with this, but that will be on a separate video, probably up before you see this one. So I'll link it if I remember. Okay, I put a little bit of concealer on the end of this, and I'm just going to dab in those areas. I usually never disclose to people that I have a YouTube channel. By the time me and this gal, towards the end of our conversation, I felt comfortable enough to tell her that I do have a YouTube channel. She was nice, and she was, I was there and I looked so awful. Okay. Do we see the difference? I wish maybe I can screenshot, but remember I just had a little bit right here. That's bunching up even more, and now I have more over here. And that's just with the concealer. But we're gonna spray this. We're not gonna give up. And then we're gonna go in with the Haus Labs foundation. And I wanted to go with a little bit more fuller coverage foundation that I have, because typically with the powder and stuff, I didn't want it to mess with like a serum foundation. And most of the time when she was talking about foundation, she was talking about the Haus Labs, so it's one of her favorites. This is not a real close match to my skin tone, but when I do get it all blended out and then I put on the rest of my makeup, it does look good. It looks pretty good. It's not my favorite, but I was looking at possibly picking up the Marc Jacobs foundation with the VIB cell, but she didn't recommend it, and she kept saying that she would recommend this over the Marc Jacobs, and so I just passed on trying to pick it up during the VIB cell. I think since I got more sun, this looks even more off. It's a little more yellow than my skin. I have an olive skin tone, but I think this has a little too much yellow in it. And I could add some blue, and I might just do that over top of this layer, but it's definitely going to need a spray to kind of revive this, because to me, it's looking cakey. Face isn't really matching with the neck. I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the foundation, mix it in, take another swipe. Okay, a little bit of blue helped a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and spray the face. And I always use the ABH, or the Anastasia Dewy Set. So I'm going to spray my face and kind of dab it. It did help bring my face back to life. So spraying it is a must. Looks more like skin. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm not seeing excessive pulling or tugging or wrinkling or anywhere quite yet, so we will keep going. And I'm just going to finish out what I would do on my face, not an eye look. I'm going to go ahead and apply some blush, and I don't usually use bronzer, but since today we are trying out things that we normally don't use, let's go ahead and use some bronzer, some blush, and I'll do my eyebrows, and then we'll be done as far as it goes until I see you at the end. So let me go ahead and grab my bronzer and blush and apply that. Okay, I'm going to use the Too Faced Chocolate Gold Soleil, and we're going to use that for bronzer. All right, so there's my bronzer, and let's see, blush is next. I just grabbed one of these blushes that I am just trying to use up. Probably going to see if I'm going to I just grabbed this blush because I am getting ready to do my declutter series, and so I am trying out some of these products to see if I want to hold on to them or just get rid of them. I think this is out of a Too Faced palette or something like that. I can't remember for sure. Very pigmented. Laying that on top of the bronzer. Underneath my eyes look a little cakey. I'll get close here in a minute, but I'm going to dab them again. But how pigmented this is, I'm not sure this is Too Faced. Really having to be very light-handed with it, okay? And that's pretty dark, so I'm just going to, a little darker than what I like it to be, so I'm just going to take my foundation, sponge what's left on it, and just kind of tap over it. So far, I'm liking how my face is looking, okay? Just tapping out underneath that under eye area did help a little bit, but we'll see if it keeps trying to bunch up underneath there, okay? I'm not going to do highlighter because I'm getting ready to do an eye look, and I don't pick out my highlighter until I see the end of my look, and all I have left is eyebrows, and that's really boring, so I won't bore you guys with that process, and I will check back with you at the end of the day. So we're going to take a look at what this foundation is doing on my face. Is it going to crease? Is it going to bunch up? Right now, it kind of is a little bit underneath my eyes, but not super seriously bad, and this is what it looks like up close. You see the a little bit of bunching right up underneath here. So, and that's just not normally there. And actually a little bit on top of my eye, which normally is not there as well. Those are there. I just don't want them more pronounced than they normally are. And then we're starting to see that creasing there, but that usually happens with most any of my foundations. So we'll see. So I'm going to be doing my look off camera on a different video, and I will check back with you in several hours. It's like 2 in the afternoon right now, so we have until the end of the night. I usually check back in around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So I will see you guys around then. Take care, guys. Hey guys. Okay, it is 9:19 right now. And so I have worn this throughout the day. I've eaten, I'm doing all the stuff. This is a look that I use, the Don't Be Jelly, the new one from the Unearthly Cosmetics. You got to ignore this lash over here. Okay. There's some slippage. Like, I don't know what's happening. It's like these eyelashes would not curl normally, and these did. And it's just like, it's not holding the lash because I don't know. It's my lashes. Okay. They're horrible, but like, it's just sliding down on the lash.
It's not about that. We're doing the foundation review.
I think that it held up pretty well. If I wanted to powder and like not look too closely at my face, I think it's okay. It didn't wrinkle it like it normally does. I have to give her credit there that it did not wrinkle up my face like it normally does. But in all transparency, I did spray it one more time with setting spray before I started the whole wear test. So I sprayed it twice, and to kind of revamp the moisture back into my face. I'm going to get up close. And I mean, those are there. Like, they're not going to make, it's not going to make that disappear. But my smile lines are not as deep as sometimes they do. I just do feel like there's just a little bit more crepiness that's happened underneath my eyes that was not there before, we got started. But it's not awful, because this is not what typically happens when concealer and powder hits my face. So that's a whole other story. Whenever you put on powder and concealer on my face, it just like wrinkles it up, and I look, 10-20 times, older than what I really am, because it just wrinkles it all up, and I usually take it off, and I just can't even have it on my face. So I'm like, I'd rather just go with no makeup, no foundation at all, if that's what it's going to make it look like. But that's not the case. So it does work, but it still does add a little bit more than usual. But is it worth it if you have makeup that is powdered and stays on your face all day? So if you want a little bit more fuller coverage and you want it to stay put, because I feel like it did. I feel like it did a really good job going throughout the day wearing this, other than this lash. This lash is going to drive me nuts. As soon as I get done, we're stripping it off. Okay, but Sephora employee, thank you very much. You gave me a little bit of a hack where I can use this in the future. You guys tell me what you guys think. Are you going to try this? Are you going to see if it matters? If it makes a difference for you? Let me know down in the comment section. Have you ever heard of doing it in this order? Because really, I have heard of different ways of doing it, but I'm pretty sure that was the first time in that order that I've ever been told to try it out. So I'm pleasantly surprised on how well it did hold, and it does look without creasing my skin all up. So it is time for me to wipe everything off of this face and head to bed, because I am tired. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and until the next time I see you, I hope glitter catches your eye but never goes in it. Take care. Bye-bye.